No, I don't see any way Jake can beat me. I'm much better than him, so.
But the problem is, the only proper boxer you fought was Tommy Fury, and he beat you. And he's not even the best. He's not even the best fighter in his family.
On Piers Morgan's show, Jake Paul heatedly detested his host's claims, insisting the facts were skewed and storming off the set. Simultaneously, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. emerged, fearless and determined, ready to test Jake's legitimacy in the ring. Tension on air bubbled into a dramatic showdown, and now, the boxing.
I'm a killer, I get in the ring with the best people, and you get in the ring with a guy who's 50, he's literally nearly as old as me.
Piers Morgan started strong by highlighting a glaring inconsistency in Jake's self-proclaimed toughness. While Jake markets himself as a killer in the ring, his most recent fight was against a 50-year-old opponent. This pointed contrast between hype and reality called into question Jake's credibility. Morgan's cutting observation forced Jake to acknowledge that his past opponents may not measure up to his bravado. A risky challenge on national TV. It was a bold opening volley. Morgan wasn't just interviewing a celebrity boxer, but testing the foundations of Jake's brand, and from Jake's reaction, it was clear that narrative stung. The fighter's reputation was suddenly under scrutiny, and the gloves were officially off.
But the problem is, the only proper boxer you fought was Tommy Fury, and he beat you. And he's not even the best. He's not even the best fighter in his family.
Morgan escalated his questioning by drilling into Jake's most notable boxing loss to Tommy Fury. He emphasized that Fury wasn't even considered an elite boxer, yet he defeated Paul. The implication was chilling. If Jake loses to a mid-level fighter, what hope does he stand against a veteran like Chavez Jr.? This wasn't just a jab at his record, it was a blow to his credibility as a brawler. Morgan wanted Jake to explain how he could justify his reputation when he couldn't win the biggest fight of his career. Once again, Jake was confronted with the raw truth. Hype doesn't win fights. Skill does.
You can sit there and make up shit, but you actually don't know your facts. I've fought multiple boxers with professional records, and including Mike Tyson himself, who I think.
Jake didn't back down. He countered sharply, accusing Morgan of not doing his homework and asserting that he's faced multiple fighters with professional records, even claiming to have squared off with Mike Tyson. That bold statement showed Jake was feeling cornered and needed to reinforce his legitimacy. It wasn't just about preserving his image, it was a full-throated defense. Jake was pushing against Morgan's narrative, aiming to redirect the spotlight back to his claimed experience. This exchange set the stage for an emotional tilt in the balance. Was Jake a serious athlete or merely an influencer with boxing aspirations?
No disrespect.
That's what I want.
You would have had two hopes of beating Mike Tyson
as well.
You'd have had two hopes of beating
Anthony Joshua as well.
You against Mike Tyson, you'd have had two hopes. No hope and Bob hope.
When Morgan joked that Jake wouldn't survive 10 seconds with a young Tyson, the tension cranked to a boiling point. Morgan added that Jake's only hope would be lucky timing, a knockout punch. Jake's reaction was visceral and defensive. He felt personally attacked. This moment fused respect for the legacy of boxing's greats with the raw edge of hype culture. Jake's defiance showed both his confidence and his vulnerability. It was clear that while he's built a platform off spectacle, any doubt about his toughness or courage still cuts deeply, and that's what led to the unfolding train wreck when Jake walked away from the set.
I think you're a great YouTuber, a great influencer. I admire what you've tried to do in boxing, but I do think when you actually come up against a proper, serious boxer, and I suspect that Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. may be that person, it could all come crashing down.
Piers, is that you think that your opinion matters.
Well, why are you doing my show if it doesn't?
Morgan admitted admiration for Jake as a YouTuber and influencer, but warned that in a fight with a real boxer like Chavez Jr., Jake's persona could unravel. Morgan turned personal, asking if the interview even mattered to Jake, if he thought opinions like his had any value in Jake's career. That left the fighter exposed. He snapped, asking Morgan why he was on the show if his opinion didn't count. It was a poignant, raw clash of personas, Morgan the skeptic versus Jake the attention machine, and it's here that the narrative split. Was Jake just chasing clicks, or was this the showdown that reveals something real?
Let me ask you one question on behalf of the entire planet. Can you knock Jake Paul out for the world, please?
Yes, of course. Yes, I'm ready to put him down, and I'm super ready.
Out of the blue, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. joined the fray, unapologetically confident. He declared he'd knock Jake Paul out, no questions asked. It was a bold pivot from Jake's stormy departure to Chavez's calm and assertive entry. Chavez wasn't just talking, he was issuing an outright challenge, turning this into a promotional tiff. The contrast couldn't be sharper. Jake walking away in anger, Chavez stepping forward with intent. Suddenly, this felt less like an interview and more like the prelude to a gritty, physical confrontation. The chatter shifted from talk to challenge. Someone was ready to prove something.
I think it's a good fighter. Not a great fighter. He tried to be a good one, but he's not already a good fighter, so it's okay.
Chavez emphasized that Jake is a good fighter, not great. He praised his efforts, but downplayed any illusions about elite status. It was a respectful assessment, acknowledging Jake's progress without grandiosity. Chavez created distance not out of disrespect, but realism. He implied that while Jake has improved, he hasn't earned legendary status. Then Chavez dropped the real tension. This upcoming fight would test whether Jake is the real deal or just flash. That statement echoed louder than any insult. It framed the contest as a litmus test for legitimacy.
I think for the first time fighting I fight a real boxer, so I wanna test him, and I want to find out if he's good or not. So I want to find out this Saturday.
Characterizing this as Jake's first showdown with a real boxer, Chavez made clear that this was more than hype. It was a trial by fire. Jake's previous opponents, Chavez implied, were not at his skill level. Now Jake faced a purpose-built contender with lineage and a burning edge. Chavez wasn't new to this. He's been through grueling camps and title fights. For Jake, this was the next level, a make-or-break event. Chavez's statement highlighted the stakes. Boxing isn't just clowning around, there's genuine craft, pedigree, and consequence here. And right now, Chavez stood ready to show why that matters.
Mike is old, it's not the same, and that's why it looked like that. So Jake take advantage of him.
Julio Chavez Jr. wasn't impressed with Jake's past opponent, Mike Tyson. He pointed out the obvious. Tyson is no longer the beast he once was, and Jake took advantage of that decline. This wasn't a jab at Tyson's legacy, but a critique of Jake's strategic matchmaking. Chavez was essentially saying, you want credit for beating an aging lion? And in doing so, he drew attention to a deeper point. Jake's career has been built on calculated fights that generate headlines, not necessarily credible boxing wins. The statement emphasized Chavez's mindset. This isn't showbiz, it's real combat, and Jake this time has no aging opponent to hide behind.
At the same time, I never stopped training, so I always training, I always stay ready, and I think this is the difference.
Chavez admitted he's been a bit inactive, but he also clarified that he never stopped training. He emphasized constant sparring, daily gym work, and always staying in shape. This wasn't just a boxer trying to convince others, this was Chavez trying to convince himself too. Inactivity is a real concern in the sport, but he confidently flipped the narrative. He might not have been in the spotlight, but he's always been sharpening the blade. This gave him a psychological edge. He's positioning himself as both underestimated and dangerous. For Jake, that means no easy win, no predictable rhythm, just a highly motivated veteran looking to reassert dominance.
Wait for this Saturday. Everything changed. I'm ready and I want to win this fight. No, that's for sure. I'm much better than Jake Paul, and I'm super focused. So this time is very different than before.
Here, Chavez gave viewers a peek inside his mindset. He's not just training, he's obsessed, focused, on a mission. He declared this fight to be different than before, implying he's more serious than ever. He's done talking, he wants to fight. And when fighters speak like this, they mean business. What makes this more compelling is the contrast to Jake Paul's often promotional bravado. Chavez is done performing. He's locked in and promising a war. It's these subtle cues, the eyes, the tone, the calm aggression that let you know the man is prepared to silence all the noise violently.
No, I don't see any way Jake can beat me. I'm much better than him, so
In the final knockout statement, Chavez flat out denied the possibility of a Jake Paul win. "There's no way," he said. To him, Jake is simply not on his level. No fluff, no caveats, just a hard, cold dismissal. In boxing, when a fighter speaks with this kind of certainty, it's not just confidence, it's a vow. Chavez believes he's going to end the Jake Paul experiment once and for all. This wasn't for show, but this was personal. His pride, legacy, and identity are on the line, and Chavez isn't playing the social media game. He's coming to end it in the ring. What started as a tense interview on Piers Morgan Uncensored spiraled into a viral storm. Jake Paul walked out furious and flustered, while Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. stepped up, focused and fearless. Jake's legacy may be built on spectacle, but Chavez is rooted in old-school boxing. This clash is more than a fight. It's the test of hype versus heritage, and come Saturday, the truth will emerge under the bright lights. Will Jake rise beyond the memes, or will Chavez shut the circus down? For more breakdowns, behind the scenes, and hard-hitting coverage like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and keep it locked right here on BoxiHub, where boxing speaks loud and clear.